The Mercedes G-Wagon can conquer just about anything. From bombing down mountains to climbing boulders and even fording streams.
There is one thing that the G-Class cannot do, and that is fly.
Even though the machine has hardcore attributes, today it's perhaps better known as a luxury ride.
I mean, it was never meant to be a luxury SUV in the first place.
To keep pace in an extremely competitive industry, this boxy 4x4 has had to evolve as the times and technology have changed.
The magic of the G-Wagon is they've sort of blended new and old.
After the demise of Land Rover's Defender series, the G-Class is the last old-school SUV still in production.
The G-Class has been around for almost 40 years, and there are quite a few series and models. They're constantly being improved and changed, and that's also what makes it so exceptional.
Presentation of the vehicle, the capability of the vehicle, it all comes together like a fairy tale in an automotive life that you can experience.
A fairy tale that commences when freshly painted bodies enter the final assembly hall.
Body comes in from paint, and what you see over there in the first station is that we take off the doors.
They take the doors off in order to give workers easier access. It's the first of thousands of steps done by hand, including moving the machines from station to station.
We have 3 main lines where the vehicle is just pulled through the system.
The 3 main assembly lines feature 70 stations.
What you will see while we walk the facility is that our people to manually install all the parts and components.
The assembly line is highly adaptable thanks to a humble yet effective system.
As you can see here, the conveyor system, a very simple system. It's a chain that runs in the floor.
Today, more than 20,000 new machines roll off the line every year.
We are at the station right now where the wiring harness is being installed in the vehicle, which is also a very unique process looking at the G-Class.
Each harness has an average length of 5 kilometers. And how they install it goes back to the machine's roots.
And how we attach the wire is very, very unique. We also have the wiring harness in between sheet metals.
They pull the wires through the sheet metal in a time-consuming process that must be perfect.
This is the tool that our operators use to pull the harness through the individual layers of sheet metal. We developed it ourselves. In many cases, we had to come up with creative ideas on how to actually get the parts to the body.
Detail and precision are expected at every single station to keep the seams in line. Whether it's the roof, cockpit, or window placement, it's always an extremely exacting, precise job.
Next, they install the climate control system, then prep the massive dashboard.
And the station we are in right now is where the cockpit instrument panel will be installed. Each connector is at its location, and now the cockpit comes in. And it's also very unique here with G-Class, it's manually installed.
2 craftspeople lift the weighty instrument panel into place. At most car factories, large sub-assemblies like the dashboard arrive just in time from outside suppliers, but not in Graz. Here, they meticulously craft nearly all of the sub-assemblies themselves.
So going back 3 decades to 1979, when the G-Class was launched here, there was hardly any automotive industry in the area. So it was obvious for the company to create and build lots of components themselves. And it is still true until today.
The extra effort adds up. A typical build takes roughly 150 hours.
We paint our own brake lines, we do fascias, we do consoles, all the way through to seats.
All of those sub-assemblies require a tremendous amount of additional parts compared to an ordinary factory.
We have currently around about 18,000 components that we manage on a daily basis.
The 18,000 parts are sourced from 800 different suppliers.
And that basically creates a unique challenge for each operator. Many people in their life, they are looking for challenges. They don't want to have a boring job doing 2 cycles, always the same job. From a manufacturing perspective, is this a unique challenge?
There are new challenges every day, positive challenges, and yes, the car itself is very comprehensive and therefore exciting to work on. There's always something new and interesting.
Like most of the build, the window installed station is just a tad different.
So what you normally see is a robot that applies urethane on the glass, and then the glass is basically glued to the body. On the G-Glass, we're using a rubber seal that basically makes the windshield hold to the body. You don't see that very often anymore.
Not only is the process different, but so are the windows themselves, because they're actually straight.
Because if you have an issue with the windshield, it's easy to remove and to be replaced, which was also the initial idea of designing it that way, because when you are heavy-duty off-road, your windshield could have a crack, and it's very, very easy and cheaper for the customer to replace this windshield than one that is glued in with an adhesive.
In the beginning, the G-Class is a rather basic machine. Yet slowly, over the years, it creeps towards extravagance. The big change comes in 1989 when Mercedes launches a second-generation machine. It features a revised chassis, full-time four-wheel drive, anti-lock brakes, and most importantly, 3 very special locking differentials.
The G-Class has 3 locking differentials, meaning you can choose which wheels are locked to which other wheels.
On a normal open differential, if one tire is on a slippery surface and the other one is on a surface of grip, the tire on the slippery surface is going to spin readily. With a locking differential, you lock both tires together so that they turn at the same speed and they both get the same amount of power. When you lock all 4 together, they all go the exact same speed, which ensures that you can keep moving forward even in some of the worst conditions.
The hardcore locking diffs help solidify the G-Wagon's reputation as a go-anywhere, go-through-anything machine. Virtues that continue today, 1 aisle over from the main line.
We're here in the frame line. This is where we put the frames together.
Most current SUVs are built using a unibody construction technique that combines the exterior body and the frame into one pre-built piece. The G-Wagon is different, offering a ladder frame.
G-Wagon is an old-school SUV, which means that it has a separate frame from the body, and the body and the frame go together. It's in no way car-like, nor does it try to be car-like.
It's a very simple concept. We have 2 rails going from the back of the vehicle to the front of the vehicle, and they are connected with different tubes. So if you would twist it up or tilt it up, it looks like a ladder.
Craftspeople swing the giant frame onto the line. Then they add the axles, suspension components, and drive shaft.
The axles are pre-assembled and put together with the frame. Then it's on to the assembly line up there. It's hard work, yes. Certain things must fit precisely. You need to work quickly. Our fix station is sweaty work. It's great work, just sweaty work.
The work is hard and the hours are long, yet the bonds last a lifetime.
Wir sind hier 18 Leute und ich sehe
There are 18 of us here, and I look at myself and my co-workers as one big family who locks arms and works together. So, it's like my own family here.
The machine forms families on the line and often strengthens them at home.
Mein Vater hat im 91er Jahr schon mal gearbeitet hier.
My father worked here in '91. That gave me the idea to come here and try it too. And I was lucky enough to land at G-Class. To walk a bit in his footsteps is simply a precious moment, a feeling of joy.
You have the rear differential, which is part of the axle, the front differential, which is part of the front axle, and then the middle differential will be installed a couple stations further down here.
Finally, it's time to drop the massive engines into place.
At the end of this line, it's a hot chassis. We call it a hot chassis because if you would fill it with all the liquids, put a steering wheel to it, and put a seat on it, you can actually drive it.
Completed powertrains are then lifted high overhead and sent to a very special station, where it will take 4 men just a few bolts to bring a G-Wagon to life.